List out the top personality types as a keyword list. Include all. Today, I'm going to show you how I made over $14,000 in recurring monthly payments on this account right here. And not only that, but I'm also going to show you how this one banked over $31,000, all from one simple idea. And today, we're going to be building this out and vibe coding in public. I'm going to show you exactly how this idea started, how I went from zero to my first sale virtually overnight, why I knew the idea would work, how I got traffic, how I created the entire 1,000-page website using Manus AI, why I was able to start this entire business for less than $250, how JSON prompts work and why I use them, and my exact plans for taking this business from just around $50,000 profit to over 7 figures. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's trading is going to be a doozy. If you want to start a business and make money with AI, you need to pay close attention and watch this video at least one time all the way through, because I'm going to show you what the other gurus don't dare teach. Yeah, the real nuts and bolts of how this business works, what you need to know, and how you can get started right now. I'm sure you've noticed there's a lot of videos out there promising a simple little prompt or how to sell prompts and make all kinds of money. Some of them even promise passive income and different things like that. Like this one here saying you can make $100 a day with no skills whatsoever. And on we go, simple ebooks and Claude and all kinds of strategies. What I've found with most of these videos is that oftentimes they will show you the idea, but not really how to implement it. Like they'll spend 45 minutes showing you how to build a t-shirt with AI and print on demand, but they don't show you like how to actually sell it. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you inside one of the businesses I've built recently. Yes, this one was started, I believe it was November 1st or 2nd, 2005. Now, I've been running it. It still makes money to this day. I think we made a couple of bucks a couple days ago, right? Like $47 payments as I showed you in the beginning. But what I want to show you is this is not by any means one of the most successful businesses I have right now. This is just something that I started and kind of ran on one day. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through how it works, how I had the idea, and everything. Now, that initial launch day from one webinar, from one training, and one sales day brought in about $45,000, and it's doing about $1,200 a month in recurring revenue. Now, before we dive in, I want you to realize that the results you're going to see here, the income I've made, is not typical, implied, or guaranteed. In fact, the vast majority of people watching these types of videos, trying to make money online, even buying courses and trying to set stuff up, make nothing. So what I want to do is I want to show you, hey, this is a business. Most people make nothing. Let's take a look at what the people that actually make money actually do. Because most of the time, it's not spending all this time making a t-shirt or a perfect prompt or anything like that. It's in the strategy and the sales behind it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I built personality prompts, an actual real business. This came about from one question I had before we were going from Orlando to Tampa to go see a concert. That morning, everyone was getting ready and I was on my computer and I had this one idea that I showed you earlier, which was all about like, what if these personality types could be made as prompts? What if you could go out there and kind of reverse engineer successful people and take what they learn and what they know and boil that into a prompt so you can think different. Back then, there was a lot of people talking about like, oh, here's this prompt that's going to make you think like a billionaire. And a lot of people would tell you, go to ChatGPT and type in, think like a billionaire and make me a plan. It doesn't exactly work that way, right? It's just going to give you some kind of idea. It's not going to give you concrete stuff that you can take and actually work and make into a business. So today, I'm going to show you how I built this business from one question. One AI conversation turned into a 140-page guide, a zero-dependency website, a landing page, 95 prompt webinar funnel, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did this. This is super important, and right now you could see this business is actually getting like 3,000 visitors a month. I haven't done anything on this since November except cash checks, really. That's pretty much all I've done. Now, we did try to fix it up and everything. However, I want to show you what we're doing in the future as well. You could see as far as SEO, it really doesn't do anything. So those 3,000 visitors are coming from things that I did before, super, super important, and they're coming from other types of traffic as well. More about that in just a minute. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you on October 4th where I was using this idea. Okay, over here in ChatGPT, I started with the idea of behavioral stuff, right? I was browsing online and I had this idea. This is where we came up with Clipter as well, which Clipter really thinks about this in a different way. So if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to a video about that below. But the idea here was going through and looking at little carousels where they were talking about different types of making money, different types of prompts, and things like that. This comes from the idea of personalities and psychology, where we look at different things like cognitive biases. Now, whenever we have a term like cognitive biases, what we usually have is a lot of people searching for them, right? So here's just list number 1 here, which is about decision-making bias. If we were to go over here into our keyword tool and type these in, what you're going to see is that there's all these people searching for these types of biases. You have over 250,000 people searching for sunk cost fallacy, availability heuristic, all of these different types of business terms. Now, a lot of people look at this and they're like, well, this is just junk. Who cares if someone is searching for the IKEA effect? Well, I do. Why? Because that's how I make money. If I can apply the IKEA effect or the blind spot bias to a prompt that would help people get a result, boom, now I have something that pretty much only I have. Now, the idea went even further where I went through and said I wanted to start a business based on, hey, what if I had a prompt that would think like Elon Musk or think like Jeff Bezos? And I didn't want to go out there and be like, here's the Jeff Bezos prompt, because obviously you can't really do stuff with people's likeness without permission. There are some people who do it. It's kind of a gray area, and I like to stay away from the gray areas. So what I wanted to do was boil down what was it behind why he thinks the way he thinks? Not so much like, what does he think now that he's at SpaceX, but what did he think back when he was like you and me starting a business? This is important. Now, going through here, I ironed out this JSON prompt, and then what I did is I had ChatGPT tell me a business model for it. Now, while other people are out there and saying, oh, ChatGPT, give me a business model to make money, okay, that's a dead end. It's not going to work. What I did is I said I wanted to start a business for personality type prompts to help people get more specific results, use this and make a vision plan. So I gave it the idea and then said, make it a business plan. And this was a prompt that I created from my other ChatGPT. I was like, oh, how does Elon Musk think? What is different? Why does he think different than these people? How would that apply to the entrepreneur? I went through for like an hour, built this prompt out, and boom, there we go. And it works really, really well. Then I said, give me the vision. It said, here's a vision plan, personality prompts business. The mission is to empower creators, entrepreneurs, and professionals to think in different cognitive frameworks. This is the key, right? I saw so many people using AI and they were using it like everyone else. Act like a painter and make a painting, right? Okay, yeah, fine. What kind of painting? Right? Are you painting whales? Are you going to be like this guy? You're going to be like that way? What is it? And then what I went through is found the idea of who this would actually help. Now, basing this on frameworks and ideas, right? I want to walk you through this whole plan so that you can understand why I think the way I do, how it works, and how you can boil that into a business of your own. Now, we went through here. You could see the different plans I had on Manus over here. I think they open up and you can actually see the history of how it worked, right? Here was a landing page I made that actually tied into our list and everything like that. So very, very simple, very basic. I think this was like the original landing page. And then we had other ideas as well. Now, going through here, what I wanted to do is really start with, where did this start with a seed, right? A lot of people out there, they think an idea is a business and it's not. Right? An idea is just an idea. What we need is we need the seed of why that's going to work so that we can plant it and grow something. So what I wanted to do is go here and say, tell me about this, and using personality types for prompts. And what I did is I started pasting in a different chat where I said, now think of what types of things I can think like. Now tie this into personality prompts. Now, what it did is it said key insights, the power of cognitive functions, understanding the cognitive functions, extroverted thinking, types of thinking, personality types. Now, again, I didn't want to just use the personality types. I wanted to boil down what would actually work for you, right? Thinking about this like a wheel, thinking about this like a grid of content. If I was out there and I was in like the zodiac niche, right? I have all these things like Sagittarius and Scorpio and all these other things that would tie in and bounce off of each other that have to do with what people are interested in already. Most businesses you have need to be based on something people are interested in already, with a few exceptions that are more luck than strategy. Now, going through here, we got the detailed personality and thinking types of Elon Musk. We talked about the top experts on sales webinars and tips to sell. We built the webinar and then built the business. Now, when we go through and look at this, I wanted to show you what the prompting business looked like because, I mean, a lot of traffic poured into this business. If you go through and you look at top prompting businesses, like even just on Etsy or something, you could see there are people selling prompts, right? Prompts generators, writing prompts, and on we go. Tons of stuff there. And if you were able to go outside of just that one domain and type in like AI prompt, you're going to see lots of people search for this. Gemini AI photo prompt. Okay, what types of photo prompts? Goes even deeper. Shopify AI prompt examples for email chains. I mean, that's super specific. I could probably put a post on this on personality prompts and rank for it literally tomorrow. Not only that, but you have a lot of other terms like AI prompt, you have writing prompt, prompt engineering, Midjourney, AI prompt engineering, and on we go, even ChatGPT prompt. Now, when we look at this as a business, we can see that there are a lot of businesses doing this. This ecosystem is gigantic. When we look at the AI prompt marketplace as of 2024, newsflash, it's grown since then. 1.4 billion, expected to be 11 billion by 33. And on we go. Prompt engineering, we have assessment quizzes, different things like that, which is really cool. The prompt economy is absolutely huge. Now, pairing that with like personalities, like 16 personalities, Truity, all of this stuff here, we could see, yes, there's money here. What I wanted to do is be like, okay, well, where's the money? Is this actually working? I don't want to reinvent the wheel and be like, prompts for bicycle enthusiasts. Nobody's looking that up. I wanted something straightforward that would pair on two different things. This is important because when we go through with business, what we want to do is pair this on two different things, right? We want to look at what can I see that is a constant that I know is making money right now? And then what can I go through and use in a different way? So watch what this looks like here. We're going to go over here and take a look and see the two different things. We'll open up a whiteboard here, and here we go. Now, what we're going to do is say, okay, well, what do I know has traffic and makes money? Okay, what is out there that's actually working? A lot of people try to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do that. Just look at the data, follow what works, and make something better, unique, different, something like that. Like a lot of people have prompts of, oh, here's how to make an Excel file. Here's how to make this. Here's how to make that. Here's how to make whatever. What I wanted to do is go through and say, okay, how can I pair this with something else? So we have personality types, which a lot of people like. We saw that if you were to look at the personality types, right? We go right here, just like I did in the beginning, and I talked about the personality types here in ChatGPT. Okay, watch what happens when we type all these in. And we're not just using one, we're using all of them, right? Not just Myers-Briggs or whatever. We're going to use everything. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do Keywords Explorer, and I want you to watch what happens. We're going to go search, and we're going to see we got 46 million searches a month. Now, granted, some of them are like Delta, Red, Blue. Let's say there's probably like 5 million or something. I don't know. Looking at that, we want to go through and dig in and really focus, right? So you have entrepreneur, you have protagonist. There's our first one, resilient, content, independent. So there's some here that are actually really good. And then when you get into the letters, like this one, INFP, INTJ, INFJ. These are very, very basic. And what we could do is boil down like, oh, What is the entrepreneur one? What are the traits of the entrepreneur? How does this work? How do we boil that into a prompt? Okay, this is the base way of thinking, looking at, yes, there's money there. Yes, there's people searching. Yes, this absolutely works. Now, knowing that was I kind of knew that at the get-go just because I've been doing this forever. What we want to do is want to boil down, like, how would you know that? Well, before getting into the steps, we need to understand how this idea surfaced. It wasn't a planned product. It came from a specific way of thinking. This is what people get wrong with AI. They think it's about just, oh, I can organize this or have it give me an idea. But what we need to do is we need to prompt the AI to think differently, right? If you wanted to like boil down, I know Elon Musk talks about like making his brain an AI or some crazy stuff like that. Thinking about like, what would that look like? Why would his brain be different than your brain? What is the difference? Where does that come in? How does a psychologist think different than a dentist? How does a dentist think different than a landscaper? This is important because it's a mental habit of connecting things that don't obviously belong together. This is where AI will never give you the result until there's a major shift. It doesn't connect things that don't obviously belong together because it's a pattern recognition engine. That's why so many people get the same results using the same prompts, which is why I created personality prompts in the first place. The core mindset is that the best digital products don't come from asking, what should I sell? They come from asking, what interesting thing happened in this conversation and what would happen if I scaled it? Notice I started with like, hey, what's this thing about like these personalities? How does it work? Why do people think different? How do I scale this into something big? The personality prompts idea was hiding inside a casual brainstorming session. I would venture to say that with your AI, if you're using it to learn, you're probably getting a lot of these hidden business ideas that you don't even know exist. The skill is learning to recognize the moment when a concept has product potential. The way we're going to do that is by validating with data. Right? Looking at it with data. Is there traffic? Is there money? Now, here is the exact thinking pattern that produced this idea. I'm going to boil this into a prompt. I'm going to put this at downloadmynotes.com so you can get that prompt. But watch the rest of this because a prompt alone is not going to do anything unless you understand why we made it. So the idea here is first, cross-domain connecting. The idea came from connecting two unrelated fields, psychology, personality frameworks, and AI prompting. Ask yourself constantly, what does this have to do with that? This is good with AI. This is where you could go through, and this is the intersection, usually where the gold is. If I can say, well, instead of making faceless videos about Stoic philosophy, what if I compared Stoic philosophy to money making or addiction recovery or something specific that we can do, or prompting? What if you had Stoic prompts? I mean, that's something that can work, right? Then we follow the interesting thread. What we want to do, one of the biggest skills that nobody talks about with entrepreneurship is curiosity. The ability to learn, understand, and think about this in a different way. When something in a conversation makes you think, that's interesting, don't move on, pull the thread, let it unravel and learn about it. This is the moment of curiosity. Your subconscious is telling you there's something worth exploring. Then ask, what if I scaled this? What would this look like? So I got this cool little Elon Musk prompt or a WordPress plugin or a PDF checklist. What would happen if I scaled it? The first prompt guide I created had 4 personality types. The question is, what if I did all of them? Built-in traffic, built-in people interested in it, tie it into business stuff. When I think about businesses, I want to think about what does the traffic look like, right? So like between the 36 personality prompts or 16 or whatever it is, times all the other different Myers-Briggs, multiple Minnesota personalities, all these crazy things that are out there, there's lots and lots of traffic. So what I could do is I could make little guides, little videos, checklists, whatever, saying, what happens if you apply this to AI prompting? Very, very important. Now I know I have something that can work. So what would happen if I scaled it? Scale is what turns a cool idea into a real product. Most people never get past this because they think their product is wonderful and people should just buy it without even telling people about it, right? This is the idea thing. It's like the uncle, you're at Thanksgiving and your uncle's like, I got an idea for a t-shirt. And you're like, okay, yeah, you had one last year too, but did you do anything? We need to look at the data. What we're going to do is solve a real frustration. Is there something there? Like, are people actually frustrated with the answers AI gives them? Yes, they are. Then we're going to test one and then batch it. Then we're going to let the AI surprise us with different ideas. This is about a lens, because what's going to happen here is you're going to spend all this time making the data, understanding the data, and then when you're ready, like most people are using AI like this, right? They're like, hey, look at this AI. I'm going to give you this idea, and it's just going to give you tons of stuff, broad, annoying stuff. What I'm doing is I'm using AI. So here's me, and I'm using AI to weed down these ideas into a fine little point. Then I'm going to take that point and scale it. Because what will happen is the AI will now understand this like a laser. And it's going to go through and pinpoint and give us exactly what we want. No more broad. Very important. The idea elicitation formula. Again, I'll have a prompt of this. You can use it, downloadmynotes.com. If you didn't see Friday's video, I'll put that in the notes as well. Very important. Goes through all of this stuff. So we started with a what if question, not a task, but a genuine curiosity prompt. What would happen if we applied this to basketball, stock trading, programming? What would happen if? Then I noticed what surprises me in the response. The surprise is a signal. Ask who else would want this. If you find it useful, others probably do too. Just this morning, I created a tool I know a lot of people are going to love, and it's great. It's a tool that helps you get the results from your AI and download them, which is great. Okay. Then who else would want this? Ask what's the biggest version of this? What would this look like as a full product? Thinking of, okay, I could have like 10 entrepreneur personalities that I create, or I could have like 5 million, right? Obviously, I don't want 5 million, but you get the idea. Then we're going to say, ask how would I sell it, and then build the smallest version first. When I first started, there was like 30 prompts in there. They were specific. Now there's several thousand. If you were to look at it, I think I still have my logins, I hope. Let's see if I have my logins here. I think it might be this one. Let's go into the admin first. And this runs on a super, super basic $150 script, which is really cool. So we'll go in here, browse users, and I'll just log in as me. Okay, so this is what it looks like here based on a member, which is a $150 script that like charges them, gives them password access, all of that, cancels them when they cancel, all of that, right? So now we could see, here's our membership, and we could see what the prompts look like. Okay, here they are. You could pull them up. Here's an anti-fragile e-commerce, questions, different things like that. And these are all based on different types of thoughts. So what you're going to do is you're going to find one thing, apply it to the other thing, and then scale it. Very, very big. So what did the data say before I built anything? When I went through, I could see personality testing is a huge business, and the AI prompts is also a huge business. The personality prompt sat at the crossroads of both, and almost nobody was there. Almost nobody's still there, and it's almost been 8 months, 9 months since I launched it. Looking at Google Trends, again, prompts was on the uptick, still is. Google Trends, people still looking at prompts. These are very, very big. So people want prompts, which ergo, if you're looking for a prompt, it means you probably don't know how to use AI as effectively as you can, which means personality prompts would be a good fit for you. Now, looking at the keyword research, we could see personality test, MTB, I think that's the Myers-Briggs, ChatGPT prompts. All of these intersect, which is really good. And we could see AI prompts for type was the key, right? Like AI prompt for this type of thing, AI prompt for drop shipping or whatever it is, okay? Now, when we go through the Ahrefs SEO strategy, it's baked in from day one. So I'm building on something that has traffic. A lot of people are like, oh, these shoes are cool, I'm going to go sell them. Okay, well, if nobody's looking for them, doesn't really matter, okay? Very, very, very important. I wanted to piggyback on something that's already being searched for. That way, if I make content on social media, like, oh, hey, here's the Elon Musk way of thinking. Cool. By the way, did you know you can check out our personality prompts that help you understand things like an entrepreneur with your AI? Very important. So then we had all these different tasks and everything like that. Then we were looking at the regular prompting industry, which was absolutely huge. Then I went through, looked at the different prompting databases or membership sites or directories. That's the word I'm fishing for, right? And I went through and I was like, oh, okay, we have all these different ones from like $2 to $10. Here's a subscription one that's $10 to $150 a month, $69 a month, on and on we go. And then we could see like ads are not that cheap. I can actually run ads on here. That's actually new data. I'm probably going to use that, right? Then I look at the email list and everything like that. Now, going through there, what we're going to see is the idea and how to work it, right? Where did we go through? Well, we had the data, right? We're like, okay, we have all these different ideas and things and thoughts. Going through with ChatGPT for speed, I'm going to go through and say, tell me all about the different ways of thinking in different groups: salesmen, entrepreneurs, teachers, everything detailed. And what this will do is this is a prompt that like very few people think this way. What we're going to do is we're going to get this idea of interesting stuff. Like, how do people think different? How does it work? Like, if I'm a teacher, what are prompts that teachers use? How can I help them with that? What are prompts that dropshippers use? What are prompts that SEO people use? And I'm not talking about just a prompt that's like, write this so it doesn't sound like an AI. I'm talking about the way AI thinks. This is what so many people are missing, is it's like, cool, you can get output, but I want to change the way it thinks so I get output that makes me money. So now we can see different groups think differently because they are rewarded for different things. Interesting. So that right there is saying the reward is what shapes the thinking. Salesperson is rewarded for closing, teacher this. So here's our salesperson. Salespeople think in terms of desire, objections, urgency, trust, and decisions. Now, what I would do here is I would go like this. I would take this one. I would go over to ChatGPT, right, like this, and I'd say, tell me the top salespeople and their tips, and add that to this. 100 salespeople, 2 to 3 specific strategies, tips, frameworks from them, right? What we're going to do is we're going to boil this down and we're going to get the essence of what works. I don't want just Elon Musk. I want the essence of why does he think the way he thinks. It's like a recipe, right? There's like a magic ingredient in every recipe, and there's a magic way someone thinks that makes them different. Like Steven Spielberg thinks different than I do. And on we go. And when you think about that, it's like, oh, hey, this can work. So the core insight is AI doesn't have a default personality or way of thinking. It has whatever personality you give it. So AI is just sitting there and it's like bored, or whatever computers do, right? And it's like, I'm just waiting to look for patterns. Okay? And if you're like, hey, tell me why blue is like 11, right? Watch this. You're going to see how this works, right? So we'll go through, we'll do ChatGPT, and I'll say, tell me why blue is like 11. Watch this. It's going to go through its memory, and it's going to be like, what are all the times blue came up? What are all the times 11 come up? Why do they fit? Blue feels like 11 because they both have the quiet but intense energy. Blue is calm, distant, serious. Might be hallucinating. Let's fact check it. Fact check, please. And we'll see, like, how did you figure it out? Past the basic, complete number 10, but not fully settled into the structure of 12. So psychology, blue is depth. So now it's going to fact check, and it's going to go out on the web. Mostly metaphor, partly supported. The claim is blue is like 11 is not a factual rule in psychology. Okay, find it based on factual rules. See what's happening here is we're like, oh, it's going to make stuff up. And most people would be like, oh, that's good enough for me. Here we go. And it's just junk. But if I go through and say, find it based on actual rules and relevance, Now it's going to go through and it'll find it based on that. This is how you start to get it to laser in on stuff. Now, going through here, that's what we did with personalities. I was like, okay, laser target in on these salespeople. Tell me what they think and why. 100 salespeople, here they are. Okay, cool. Now let's boil down the unique ideas and ways of thinking into like 250 ideas. Okay, watch what happens here. You're going to see this in a crazy way. Make it devoid of people's names. Let's spell correctly. People's names and specific strategies, and just get the essence idea. Okay, so what'll happen here is now we'll get like 250 different ideas. It's like, oh, the show and sell, the high pitch example, or whatever it is. And we're going to boil that down into something. People rarely buy the thing, they buy what the thing changes. Boom, that is devoid. It probably cross-references like 20 different people on the list. And now we have something very specific. Does that make sense to everyone? Let me know as a comment below, type aha. And now watch what we do next. This is how personality prompts came about. And you can use this with literally anything. The enemy is not always a competitor. Sometimes it's inaction. Okay, cool. So now I could go over to Manus and I could say, turn these into prompts. And you can see that's literally what we did here, right? Here we go, title generators. We boiled it down. We made it super specific. And there we go. Maybe you could do this based on like marketing for dentists or something. So now we have blue equals 240, right? So apparently that's what it equals in the color check. And then you could see all the other stuff there. But what that showed you is AI is literally just looking for combinations and patterns. We need to help it find the patterns that make sense to us and apply things to things it wouldn't normally know how to apply to. This is key. This is literally how I've made a lot of money with AI. Now I'm going to go through, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Manus AI over here. We're going to do a new task. I want to come up with specific prompts that help people in the field of sales. Use this and make 250 JSON prompts, super specific, that help people with whatever the prompt is doing. If it's like inaction, have it show them where to find action in their biz. Make each prompt named like this. 1, action 1. Let's do name of prompt.txt. Very important that we do this. This is going to save you from having to find, edit, and deal with thousands of files. What we're just going to do is upload them all as TXTs. The script will recognize them. That's what we did with personality prompts over here. These actually pull up TXTs, right? So I think if you were to go here and do like /txt, I'm pretty sure that'll come up. I don't know. I'm not a programmer, but we'll see. It does, right? So that's literally what it's calling. If I added another one to the folder, it would just automatically put it in here, automatically pop it up. Now we had a script also that would copy them, right? You could just click copy. I think we had that on this one or one of the bigger ones here. Sales and persuasion. It was one of these. Content creation, this one here. This goes in even more robust and had a little copy button and stuff like that. See, let's make like little before and after sliders. All of these are like, here's all the visual content things that people say work. And now I can go through and be like, oh, what kind of memes could I make for my business? Boom. Super important. So like what I wanted to do is I wanted to make personality prompts to where it's like $47 is ridiculously low for the training and the stuff I get. Now, going through here, Manus AI is going to build that out, and I want to show you what it looks like because it's literally set and forget once you get that specific stuff, right? Very, very key. And you can see what it looked like here. All of the prompts and everything, right? Like that. Here's viral title generators I made. Very, very specific. And overall, this didn't take very long to do. I would say I spent less than like a full week on it, like a full week, like 40 hours, right? But going here, write all the sales prompts. Here it's going, and it's going to write them out, and I'll show you how it works. Now, what we do is say, now tie this into X. So here's all these ways to think about accounting. Now tie it into doing your taxes or business or whatever, okay? Think of it about like hiring different consultants for the same problem. Different consultants are going to think different. That's why the top billionaire business people, they surround themselves with different types of thinkers, because sometimes we might want to be like, oh, that guy's in advertising. He comes up with the slogan of, this will change your life, or a diamond is forever, or whatever it is. Going through there and understanding that's everything. So I went through and I had the frameworks, personalities, all these things here, on and on we go. Then I took it into sales, and I took it into sales letters and emails and all of this. The real power comes from layering multiple frameworks together. This is key, right? Like we're doing here. The power in these 250 is literally the fact that they're layered together. And look at that. Now I have 250 prompts, prospecting 30, cold 40, discovery. And what's happening is it's built on all these random things that nobody thought to put together. So now I have something completely unique, which is cool. And you would want to go through and fact check, make sure you're not like using a trademarked, like sales term or something like that. But now you could see all of these prompts. I could literally upload these. I'll show you what it looks like. It's actually very simple. And I'll load these into the sales one. So if we go personality prompts, or actually we need to go into our host. So now I usually use a web host that's going to build these up. And you just upload files. That's literally what the internet is a bunch of files. And these are all named. So what happens is the script will recognize the name. So let's log in here. I'll show you what this looks like. And let's see, cPanel. And I'll just go into the personality prompts one over here. Right here, personality prompts. There we go. So now we're in the personality prompt cPanel. I'm going to go to File Manager. I'm going to go into Public HTML, and you could see what it looks like. Now, in logins, I believe is where I put them, right? So setup, library, maybe it's under library. No, I think it might be under, let's see what it's under. It'll show right here. It's all the name here. So this is content, visual. Let's try an easy one. Maybe there's a sales one here. Let's go here, content. Okay, let's see if there's a sales one. Business strategy, sales and persuasion. Okay, so right now we have quite a few, but not near 250. So what I have here is an index file that interprets all of these and pulls them up. So if I go personality prompts, content, sales, should be able to do personality prompts, content, sales, right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the download here. So we'll go into our Manus, download, right there, upload. So I'll go right over here and I'll do upload, boom, put that file in there. You will see it show up here, reload, and it should be like the biggest file, I would think. There it is, sales prompt 250 today. Extract, you see I haven't touched this since November. Extract, boom. And now we should have all of these, maintaining motivation, building confidence, blah, 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 blah. Now, going here, this should automatically update it. I made it a simple page, and I didn't know how to do it. I used AI to say, hey, make me this type of page. So we'll go in here where we had the sales one. So we had these. Watch, it's going to get super big now. Boom. Now we have a whole bunch. Strategic cold outreach, on and on we go. I think did it go in there? It might not have. It might have done it as a folder. Let's see. Reload. Yes, it did it as a folder. So what we'll do is we'll just do select all, move it up to the main one. Boop, move. Now we should have them all in there. There we go. Now, here's what it looks like. Little scroll bar. Should have a big scroll bar. There we go. There they are, creating a one-pager. A specialized prompt to help professionals master the concept of creating a one-pager. Cool. Right? So now we have something very, very specific that we can use. This is all based on layering multiple frameworks, the personality plus this, the sales plus this. Very, very important. Maybe sales for online. Step 2, build the content library like I just showed you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 24 hours. I'm going to focus specifically and really build this out and say, okay, well, where could this go? Then I built a little optimization guide that I could give away to build a mailing list. Then what we do is build the directory website, no React, no frameworks. Very, very, very important. I wanted to go through on October 6th, when I created the guide, I wanted to turn that into an entire prompt framework, right? So I made the page, I made the directory like this. If I went through and maybe I just had this 250 one, maybe I do the 250 sales prompts and I charge $9, $17, something like that. Or I give it away free and sell big courses on how to make sales or whatever it is. Okay. And again, the traffic is built in. You can be like, here's the different sales tactics that work well, right? Very, very cool. So we go through and we're like, okay, tell me 250 sales tactics, but list them as a keyword list. Let's see if this does it right. Okay. And then going through here, if we could boil this down and make it work, boom, there we go, right? So now we have like all of this stuff here. We'll just take the first 100 just so it's actually, I think they're almost done. We'll wait for all of them so you can see what they look like. There's isolating objectives, preemptive. Like the only people who would search for this stuff would be salespeople. And now I could go through and be like, now build a prompt for each of these. Now I got 500. Now I could charge a little bit more for it. It's all about building something very cool and very specific that nobody else has, right? Check this out. So we got this here. We got 1 million people searching, reciprocity, opportunity cost, savings calculator, ROI calculator, on and on we go, social selling. I mean, are you guys starting to get the idea? And this works for every single niche. This is based on the glossary method I've been teaching for years. Now, we added all the personalities, tweaked them in. So it's kind of like take all the stuff, shake out the unique person stuff. Like I don't want, what is Tony Robbins' tip? I want, why do these people think this way? What is that way of thinking? How do I isolate that? That's what I want. Then we're going to go through, we're not going to make some crazy thing. I'm just going to make HTML. This is a very basic HTML site. I built the whole thing in AI. Then we make a landing page. This is where we go through, and my landing page is personalityprompts.com, which is unlock AI's hidden genius, get your 25 profit prompts. Basic. Like I could go get traffic to this. People opt in. They do all the time. This is the basic for everything. So what I did is I started with a deep analysis. I made the 25 profiles and I had a massive visual hook, which is like, why does Jeff Bezos think different than other people? Try this prompt out on your business. We tied it into Aweber. We had the intent inline pop-up so that they would opt in if they wanted to leave. Very cool stuff. Then what I did next, once I had the page built out, is I actually had AI go through and make this slideshow, and I read it on a webinar, and it sold better than I did. Like I just literally read it. Okay. What I did though, watch what I did. First, I said, here's the product. So I gave it the logins for the product that it made, so it already knew. And I said, go study top webinar people, figure out why their webinars sell. What do they do? Do they do the puppy dog close? Do they do the, story in the beginning? What do they do? It boiled it down. It threw all of their tips into a mixer and it looked for patterns and it found exactly, oh, this is the magic webinar formula. Guys, if you learn nothing from this training, start doing that as prompting. Prompt by first saying, find all these people, what do they say? Boil it down to what is the essence. This is important. So what I did is I got the 50 webinar format prompts. Then I went through and said, now turn this into a webinar. Okay, and then what I did is I just literally uploaded it to my site. I had it do the webinar as a scrolling, where is it? It's over here somewhere. It's a scrolling slideshow, right? So like here, you could click the buttons. Here's a little slideshow. It's got all the little tips and things like that. problem, solution. The thing sold like crazy. We didn't even have that many people on this webinar, and I did 45 grand like that. Now, again, results not typical, implied, or guaranteed. I've been doing this for a long time. I've built a following of people, but I'm going to show you how to do the same thing, right? This is all about the real world stuff that I do that actually works. This is a business. Most people make nothing. We need to take a look at what actually moves the needle. So going through here, I'll give you in the notes, I'll give you a link to the webinar. You can throw it into your AI and say, make me a webinar like this. I mean, it sold for me, so chances are it'll probably work good if you have a halfway decent product. Okay, expected registration rate. These are the numbers. We had I think overall it was a 50% conversion rate if you include both products. It's crazy. It was really good. The traffic, how people found it. Now, what I did with traffic was not near what I should have done. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go through and sell it based on my group first and then build it into a bigger business, which is what we're doing now. I'm going to show you how we build it into a bigger business and go from there. When I first launched this, it was to an internal group of people who were interested in AI stuff, which, I mean, if you're not building an audience, that's like, it's not that difficult to do. You just have to really stay the course and stay focused, right? Whatever you're doing, build that audience so that when your product's done, you have people to sell it to. Or when you find a new affiliate product, you have people to sell it to. It's almost like how Oprah can come out with an instant bestseller because she has an audience. People know who she is. That's what you want to do. Even if it's not your face or anything, maybe it's a website or maybe it's a brand or whatever. Get those people in. Now, you can do that with direct traffic, organic search, social media, geography. Now, the beauty of this method is now that I have this in Manus, now I can go through and say, now list the tips as a social media hook, one for each prompt, right? So now what's going to happen is I'm going to get content that's like, most people sell like this. Instead, do this. Go to sales prompts or whatever to get the sales prompts. Very, very straightforward. I can put these on Pinterest, put them on Facebook, Instagram. I can make videos about them. Super, super important. Now what'll happen is this can even go through and make the images. We do this all the time where we make Pinterest. We just started a new Pinterest for got niches, right? Here it is here. I have an outsourcer working on it. It's not even me doing it. It's already getting views. This is like a month behind, right? This is actually pretty slow, but it's actually getting views and leads literally right now. And these are all created with AI. There's not even that many of them, and it's already getting traffic. Like it's already working. So if I go through with Manus AI and I say, now make a cool social media infographic for each. I'm going to say start with one. That way we don't have to sit here and wait for all of them. Sometimes it takes like an hour. Start with the first one. And at the bottom, say, get the prompt, www, or let's say download the prompt. The word download works really good. Download the prompts. Download the sales prompts. Sales prompts, www.personalityprompts.com or whatever your site is, right? So now it's going to go through after that, and now I'm going to have content to promote it. I can make videos. I can do whatever. Now what's happening is I have something to sell, and it's going to be straightforward. Make sure it's good. Make sure you don't use any content you don't have the rights to. That's why I made it more about strategies than people. I didn't want Elon Musk. I wanted think like a billionaire. What do all the billionaires think? Why do they think different? Very important. Then the traffic strategies are social media posts, Aweber list name, intent, pop-ups. That's on my site. Like when they go to leave the site, it'll pop that up. I think we might have removed it when we went to WordPress. But then we had our sign up page, which looks like this. Let's log out so we could see it. There's a sign up page, boom, ready to go. I could probably even make the sign up page better and do better like we did with Join Marcus. But then we had organic SEO, content sections, and on we go. When we look at traffic, organic search was growing while social traffic declined. I'm going to flip that and I'm going to get more social now and then build it up and grow it. I'm also going to have affiliates do it, which was what some of the early earnings were people who bought affiliate sites for this business. Now we're going to give them all this content so they can go and promote it, and they have a way to make money. Pretty cool stuff. I don't usually do the affiliate marketing method. This business was less about me and more about the prompt, so I thought it was a really good one that the people who got those sites could go through and use. Now, what we wanted to look at is what the top prompt sites were earning. This was the personality one. That's just personality stuff. Didn't really want to look at that. That's the monthly traffic value. If we looked at Prompt Hero, they got a lot of traffic. They have a lot of money there too. Flow, Prompt Base, on and on we go. So looking at that, we did have a lot of money looking at like, okay, these businesses are making a lot of money, so this should work good. Now, what I learned building this, one is that one good question is a business when done correctly. If you think different, like the Scrub Daddy guy, he was like, how do I make a better sponge? How do I make something that I would use versus these little sponges that I hate, right? Thinking of something different, that's what took him into, I think they're like a 9-figure business or something ridiculous. I know they're at least an 8-figure business, but it was from one question, the Snuggie, right? Like, how do I have a blanket that doesn't fall off me on the couch or whatever? Very straightforward. Thinking about those questions and then applying it to tech businesses, I think is absolutely key. Thinking about like, oh, what is the difference between sales and what most people prompt? Like I've gone through with AI and looked at like, what do most people prompt and how do I make something better? Very, very key. Next, simple tech equals faster deployment. Far too many people are trying to make this giant software as a service. And even with AI, it's going to prompt you and it's going to lead you to want something super, super complicated. That's going to stop you from taking it to market. Start basic, start small, get customers. You can always make it better later. It's what we did with Clipter. We started small, we made it bigger later. Build the funnel in batches. Building 95 webinar prompts in 2 focused batches was far more efficient than trying to do all of them at once. Organic search compounds, social doesn't. If I could go through and I can give my ideas on the different sales frameworks, right? So if I go through with those sales frameworks here, and I'm like, oh, here we have, what was it? This was specific prompts and sales. I think we might have to do it in our actual example over here. Here we go. So if we do like developing a growth mindset, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to see on like YouTube and stuff, people are actually talking about this growth mindset. There we go. 2,250,000 growth mindset prompt. Okay. So now we have writing prompt, growth writing prompt, 13,000. This one a little bit low. It's not really about growth mindset. Here's another one. Perfect ChatGPT prompt, 4 journal prompts. So there is traffic for it. Here you go. 3 prompts for better mindset. There are things out there. We just got to look for them, right? And we got to package it right, which is cool, right? That's why we're having it look for the hooks. Then we're going to look at monetization ideas. We could do like prompt pack sales, email list and affiliate marketing, monthly membership subscription, webinar funnel, online course or workshop, display ads, different things like that, prompting libraries, done for you prompt services. Maybe you could do custom prompts for businesses. It's like what we do with custom dashboards and things like that. On and on we go. There's lots of ways to go through and do this. Now, what we want to do is we want to look at the strategy of how this worked and how I'm going to take it further. How did we go from $0 to $45,000? How we're going to go from $45,000 to 7 figures? How do we build and grow this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add to it. And I'm going to start to segment out and say, okay, can I make a personality prompts for dentists or salespeople or these specific ones, email marketers? On and on we go, right? You could go through and do this with literally anything where you say, ChatGPT, tell me the top 250 email marketers and what they say about subject lines. I mean, what people don't realize is there are full-on membership sites about how to make the best thumbnail for a video. I know, I'm part of them, and they make a lot of money, and it's pretty straightforward, basic stuff. It's all based on patterns. What are the patterns in the top ones? What do they equal? How do we make that a prompt so that you can get a good thumbnail? It's all about like, how do I get that exact result? And when we go through, subject should be subject lines. Let's see if I can fix it. Lines. There we go. Send. And what it'll do is it'll get that bulk data, narrow it down into what is their magic secret recipes, right? Obviously, we're not using secret recipes. This is just basic data on, hey, what do the studies say the top email subject lines have in common for the marketing industry, for the sales industry, for fashion, or whatever it is, and then we boil it down into what we want. Going through and doing that is absolutely key. Now, again, remember, this is a business. Results are not typical, implied, or guaranteed. If you're an affiliate, always disclose that. Always look at your original thinking. What we want to do is we want to think about what it is that makes them think different, not their pattern, right? Not the pattern that they sell. That's where we have to look at, like, what do you have the rights to do? What do you not have the rights to do? When in doubt, always look it up. Always talk to a lawyer if you're super in doubt. We actually pivoted the idea from originally thinking of like, oh, the Elon prompt, and then pivoting it because, using people's likeness doesn't work, but using what do the top salespeople say, put them in a big mixer, get the list of the things, now boil that in. That's usually in a very, very good area. Again, making this very straightforward. Maybe there's programming prompts. Maybe you go out there and you're like, oh, what are the tips that programmers use? How do we focus on it, right? Then we go through, start doing the images like this. Here's all of our sales hooks. Okay, so we got like identify, you're wasting 80% of your time on prospects who will never buy. Here's how to build your ICP and only talk to people already looking for you. This is stuff that, it gets a lot of traffic on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and stuff like that. You can make a blog post about it. Very, very straightforward. And if you do like, let's do sales strategies, sales tips or something like that. Sales strategies, you got 2,900 people a month. Sales concepts. Okay, sales frameworks. There's sales frameworks there. And we can use all kinds of different like ideas and stuff to get traffic in and then sell the generic prompts. They're specific, but they're generic, so they're not like based on people or something like that. But going through here, we could take Salesforce's blog, take a look at what kind of stuff they rank for. Here we go. Looks like it has sales methodology, common sales. There's a lot of traffic here. And a lot of these are not super competitive. Here we could just go for all their sales stuff. Now you got 10,000 words, customer lifetime value, value proposition, on and on we go. This is stuff that it's pretty much common knowledge in the sales area. We could build that into prompts, build that into these images. Let's try one first and see what it looks like. Okay, it says to do gold, dark gold, or something like that. Let's just see what it comes up with, because that's not what's really going to make it work. It's more the content. Obviously, it needs to look good, but again, it's so much more about what the content is rather than how the content looks. Okay, let's see here. Should have this. Okay. And then while we're waiting for that, let's take a look at the other stuff here. Like if you were to do like entrepreneur mindset, look at this, 4.3 million. You got a whole channel dedicated to it. Power of entrepreneur mindset. A buddy of mine does this all the time with his stuff. And he gets tons and tons of traffic. He'll probably show up in here somewhere. And you can see here's like this guy. And on we go. How to think like an entrepreneur. That's what people want. Like, how do entrepreneurs think? If I could boil that into a set of prompts, boom, I'm off to the races. And a lot of people don't get the way of thinking is more important than the actual text and content. Now, we'll take a look at how this image looks, and then I'll show you kind of where we would scale it. Again, it's about that idea: build, scale, grow. Wash, rinse, repeat, build, scale, grow. Think different. How does this compare to this? How do titles compare to this industry, right? Very, very important. We want to go through and really, really think in a different way. Think about what people would want, how we could give it to them, how we could build and grow, and everything. And then let's see. I'll walk you through a little bit more here. So looking at what the personality prompts looks like here. I think we have to log in again. Let's see if we could log in here. log in as user. There we go. So in personality prompts, we even made a little prompt voodoo operator prompts, which was pretty cool. That's all kinds of stuff, competitor lead magnets, all sorts of stuff like that. Then we have personality prompts dashboard. We have email marketing. So I need to build those ones. Social media, audience repurposing, viral hook, right? And this will go through, it'll do viral content. Boom, very, very detailed type of thing. So very valuable to the end user. Let's see how we're looking over here. It's still going. Okay, it looks like it's making all of them, but we could probably see what it's going to look like here in a minute. But again, it's just going to be something very straightforward where it's like, okay, here's the hook, here's the title, here's the little tips, and then get more over at personalityprompts.com. Going through there, that's what we want to do, is really boil it down. I'll have all the notes, all the strategies. You could check out the inner workings of the business, some of the prompts and stuff over at downloadmynotes.com. But again, this is something that's pretty straightforward. It does take some work. It does take some effort. You do got to go sell it. But like we saw, it went through and made the entire webinar that sells it for me, which is pretty cool. So now we have something that works. Now we have something that sells it, and we are literally off to the races, ready to go, building a business. And this is what, I think it was like 95 slides. And again, you could turn each of these into like blog posts, the wrong way to find offers. Maybe make a prompt on it. Maybe you could do this just for affiliate marketing prompts. Here's the 101 different landing page types with a prompt to go with them. It just keeps going and going and going. You could do this business to business. You could do this thought type, right? Like, whatever, different ways to talk to people or whatever it is, right? Very straightforward. You can think in a different way and make really good stuff. So downloadmynotes.com, smash the like button, check out the videos in the description. Always be ethical, always be responsible, always make good stuff based on a different way of thinking. In my estimate of what I've seen in this industry and AI, it's going to be about thinking different, not so much just using AI to get busy work, which is what far too many people are doing. So check out the notes, check out the videos in the description, and I'll see you in the next training.